Joining us now, the ranking member of House Judiciary. We welcome back to the show, Congressman Jim Jordan. Congressman, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Good to be with you. Yeah, good to be with you, Liz.
Congressman, okay, we've got members of your party saying Hunter Biden is a national security risk. How is he a risk?
Well, I think you start with the 150 suspicious activity reports. Now understand that's not one. This, according to news reports, that's not one, that's not two. It's 150. The vast majority of Americans never have one, but you have the former vice president's son with 150, now the current president's son with 150 of these reports, and the Treasury Department tells Republicans, oh, you're not allowed to see them, even though that's been the practice in the past. So I think that in and of itself tells you something's going on here. And understand what these are. These are transactions in the banking world where they're concerned about the amount, they're concerned about the number, they're concerned about who may be involved, the name of a person, are they some kind of threat concern? So there's 150 of those. That's the concern I think so many have, and that's coupled, of course, with what we knew back during the campaign with the laptop and 10% with for the big guy and all those stories that we've heard over the last 2 years.
Yeah, so Congressman, how is this affecting White House policy? We've been covering that story and this whole Hunter Biden story as it relates to policy in the White House and the Biden team for about more than 2 years, going on 3 years. Should Hunter testify for Congress on what he knows about Russia energy and Ukrainian energy when it comes to his work with Ukraine's energy company Burisma? And also he got paid by, the more than $3.5 million from Moscow's oligarch, the widow of the mayor of Moscow. Is it a leap to think that Hunter was paid by Moscow for information on Ukraine's energy sector?
We know we got millions from Russia. We know he got millions from companies connected to the Chinese Communist Party. We know he got millions from Burisma and energy companies in Ukraine. So he got money from all three of those sources. So we'll see that. That will be a conference decision if, in fact, the American people put us back in charge and we get the chance to then have a majority in the House of Representatives. I do think it's critical that we do the investigations on the key subjects so the American people get the facts. It's part of our constitutional duty. So they get the truth. We owe it to them.
Do you think he's affecting White House policy, the Biden family deal making?
Well, look what happened just a few weeks ago. Joe Biden takes barrels of oil from the strategic reserve, sells it to China, and the company involved in that sale is a company that Hunter Biden used to have a financial interest in. He may still have. So that just happened a few weeks ago. So obviously there are concerns that are raised, all the more reason why we need to get to the bottom of this. I think Congressman Comer, who's doing a great job as the top Republican now on the Oversight Committee, will be leading that investigation if, in fact, the American people put us back in charge.
Well, the other side of it would say, well, China's Sinopec is a big player. Of course, they're going to buy that oil. But the issue there is China's been stockpiling oil because it's trying to dominate the world in the Belt and Road infrastructure push. But, Congressman, there's also this. The deal making with China, Hunter was negotiating a big deal with CEFC, the China energy conglomerate, the big player in Belt and Road, for CEFC to invest $40 million in a liquefied natural gas plant in Louisiana. The same CEFC paid nearly $5 million to Hunter Biden, his uncle. And also, one of his investment firms, Hunter's investments firms, bought a stake in a company that was investing in Sinopec. So we understand it loud and clear. It's just such a tangle. We just don't know how and whether the president is going soft anywhere in economic or any policy with our foreign adversaries.
Yeah, what we do know is that we were right 2 years ago, right? When the press told us and when 51 former Intel officials told us that, the story about Hunter Biden and his laptop and the connections, that when they told us it was Russian disinformation, turns out it wasn't, because that information you just gave us about the deal Hunter Biden was trying to put together, we learned all that when finally the mainstream press went public and said, oh, guess what? The Hunter Biden laptop that story was real. The laptop was real. The eyewitness, Tony Bobolinsky, was real. The emails, 10% for the big guy, that was all accurate, and they finally came clean on that. So, again, we owe it to the American people to get the facts, to get the truth to them if they give us the chance to lead in the House of Representatives.
And, Congressman, the one thing that, to your point, that does stand out is Joe Biden knowing what Hunter was doing with his overseas deal-making. Let's listen again to this sound. Watch.
Hey, Palace Dad, it's 8:15. On Wednesday night, if you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, is going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think it's clear.
That was a voicemail about the New York Times story into China's energy conglomerate, CEFC, that Hunter was getting paid millions from. So Joe Biden denies that he knows anything about what Hunter was doing, but then it sounds like he does. What do you say?
Well, particularly the line, I think you're in the clear. I mean, that the American people have common sense. The American people are smart. They get it. But they got it back in the fall of 2020 when, again, you had an eyewitness who said that Joe Biden was the big guy, and an eyewitness with actual documents and emails who was part of the business arrangement. I don't know what stronger evidence you need. And yet, the mainstream press, and this is how the left operates. The left tells a lie. Big press, the big media reports it, big tech amplifies it, and then when you try to tell the truth, they call you names and say you're spreading disinformation. That's exactly the template they use there, and they continue to do it to us, but the American people get it.
Congressman Jordan, come back soon. It's great to have you on.
We will. Thanks, Liz.